You know what's fascinating? Right now, in this very moment, you're holding on to so many things that you don't even need. You're clutching beliefs about who you think you should be, worries about what might happen tomorrow, and fears about what people might think of you. And all that gripping, all that tension, all that effort to control everything around you is actually pushing away the very things you want most in life. It's the great paradox of human existence. The harder you chase, the faster things run from you. The tighter you hold on, the more life slips through your fingers like sand. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first. The universe is not withholding anything from you. You are withholding yourself from the universe. Think about that for a moment. Everything you desire, everything you long for, every dream you've tucked away in the corners of your heart is already trying to make its way to you. But you've got your arms crossed, your jaw clenched, and your whole being tied up in knots of resistance. You're like someone standing in a river, fighting against the current, exhausting yourself, when all you need to do is relax and let the water carry you exactly where you need to go. When you were born, you didn't come into this world with a manual that said you had to struggle. You didn't arrive with a rule book that declared life must be hard. That's something you learned. Someone taught you that you have to push and force and make things happen. Someone convinced you that if you're not worried, you're not being responsible. Someone told you that relaxation is laziness and that letting go means giving up. But all of those ideas, every single one of them, is working against your natural state of being. Watch a child for a few minutes. Really watch them. They don't wake up in the morning wondering if they're worthy of breakfast. They don't question whether they deserve to play or laugh or be loved. They simply exist in a state of allowing. They're connected to that invisible force that brings everything into existence, and they trust it completely. They fall down and get back up without a story about failure. They want something, and they ask for it without shame. They live in the present moment because they haven't yet learned to drag yesterday's pain into today or to poison today with tomorrow's fears. That's your natural state, too. You've just forgotten it. You've covered it up with layers and layers of conditioning of should and must and have to. You've built walls around your heart to protect yourself, not realizing that those same walls are keeping out all the good that's trying to reach you. You've learned to be suspicious of ease, to distrust joy, to question peace, and in doing so, you've made your life so much harder than it needs to be. Here's what I want you to understand. There is an organizing intelligence in the universe that knows exactly what it's doing. It grows your fingernails while you sleep. It beats your heart without you having to think about it. It turns an acorn into an oak tree and an embryo into a baby. This same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of planets and the changing of seasons is available to you right now. It wants to work through you, as you, for you. But you have to get out of your own way. Getting out of your own way doesn't mean doing nothing. It means stopping the frantic doing that comes from fear. It means releasing the white-knuckled grip you have on your life and trusting that you're being guided. It means understanding that there's a difference between action that flows from inspiration and action that comes from desperation. One feels light and energizing. The other feels heavy and exhausting. One opens doors. The other runs into walls. Think about the times in your life when things worked out beautifully. Were you forcing them? Were you struggling and straining? Or were you in a state of ease, following your intuition, taking inspired action? Most likely, the best things that ever happened to you came when you relaxed a little, when you stopped trying so hard, when you allowed yourself to be led rather than insisting on pushing your way through. The problem is that we've been taught to trust our minds more than our hearts. We think our way through life, analyzing every possibility, weighing every option, trying to figure everything out in advance. But life doesn't work that way. Life is spontaneous, life is creative, life is always moving, always flowing, always changing. And when you try to control it all with your limited human perspective, you miss the magic that's trying to happen. Your mind is a wonderful tool, but it's a terrible master. It will give you 1,000 reasons why you can't do something, why it won't work, why you're not ready. It will replay every past failure and project every possible future disaster. It will keep you small and safe and stuck. But your heart, your inner being, your connection to Source, that knows better. That part of you knows that you are capable of extraordinary things. That part of you knows that you are worthy of all good things. That part of you knows that when you align with the flow of life, miracles become ordinary. So how do you relax into this flow? How do you let go when you've spent your whole life learning to hold on? It starts with awareness. Just notice how much tension you're carrying. Notice how often you're fighting against what is. Notice how much mental energy you spend on things that haven't happened yet and may never happen. Notice how rarely you're actually present in this moment, the only moment that's real. When you catch yourself in that state of resistance, that state of struggle, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself a simple question. What if this didn't have to be so hard? What if there was an easier way? What if I could relax right now and trust that everything is working out? You don't have to believe it fully. You just have to be willing to consider the possibility. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. You stop carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You stop carrying everyone else's problems. You stop carrying old hurts and ancient grievances. You stop carrying the burden of trying to control outcomes. You care deeply, you act lovingly, you do your best, and then you release the results. You understand that your job is to show up fully and authentically, and the universe's job is to handle the how and the when. This is where faith comes in, but I'm not talking about blind faith or religious dogma. I'm talking about a deep knowing that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. You are not a separate, isolated being trying to make it in a hostile world. You are an extension of the creative force that made everything. The same power that grows flowers and hangs stars in the sky is flowing through you right now. When you align with that power, when you allow it to move through you, your life becomes a reflection of that divine intelligence. But alignment requires surrender. It requires you to give up your addiction to struggle. And yes, it is an addiction. You've gotten so used to effort and strain that you don't trust anything that comes easily. You think if it's not hard, it's not valuable. If you didn't suffer for it, you didn't earn it. If it feels good, it must be wrong. These beliefs are poisoning your experience of life. What if the opposite were true? What if ease was the sign that you're on the right path? What if joy was your compass? What if feeling good was actually your natural state, and anything else was a sign that you're out of alignment? This is the truth that changes everything. You are meant to feel good. You are meant to be happy. You are meant to thrive. Not someday, not when you achieve enough or fix enough or become enough. Right now, exactly as you are. The reason you don't have what you want isn't because you're not worthy of it. It's because you're blocking it with your resistance. Every time you focus on lack, you create more lack. Every time you worry about what you don't have, you push it further away. Every time you look at your life and feel disappointed, you magnetize more disappointment. This isn't punishment. This is just the way energy works. You are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe, and you attract what matches your frequency. When you're tense, when you're anxious, when you're forcing, your vibration is low and constricted, you're literally closing yourself off from receiving. But when you relax, when you let go, when you trust, your vibration rises and expands. You become a magnet for all good things. You open yourself to possibilities you couldn't even see before. You allow synchronicities and miracles to find you. This doesn't mean you sit on your couch and wait for things to fall into your lap. It means you take action from a place of inspiration rather than desperation. You do what feels right, not what you think you should do. You follow your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense. You say yes to opportunities that excite you and no to obligations that drain you. You stop living according to other people's expectations and start living according to your own inner guidance. And here's what happens when you do this. Life starts to feel different. Things start to fall into place with much less effort. The right people show up at the right time. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Solutions appear for problems you thought were unsolvable. Money comes from unexpected sources. Love finds you when you stop desperately seeking it. Health improves when you stop fighting your body. Peace arrives when you stop resisting your circumstances. This is the flow. This is what happens when you stop being a dam and start being a river. You move with life instead of against it. You dance with circumstances instead of battling them. You trust the process instead of demanding specific outcomes. And paradoxically, when you stop needing things to be a certain way, they often turn out better than you could have planned. But I want to be clear about something. Letting go doesn't mean you become passive or apathetic. It doesn't mean you tolerate abuse or accept injustice. It doesn't mean you stop having preferences or goals. It means you hold your desires lightly. You want what you want, but you don't need it to be happy. You work toward your goals, but you don't attach your worth to achieving them. You have preferences, but you don't suffer when life gives you something different. This is the freedom that everyone is seeking. Freedom isn't having everything go your way. Freedom is being okay no matter what happens. It's knowing that your well-being doesn't depend on external circumstances. It's understanding that peace is your choice in every moment. It's recognizing that you are not a victim of your life, but a creator of your experience. You create your experience with your thoughts. Every thought you think is sending out a signal, attracting matching circumstances. When you think thoughts of lack, you experience lack. When you think thoughts of abundance, you experience abundance. When you think thoughts of unworthiness, you create experiences that confirm your unworthiness. When you think thoughts of love and appreciation, you create experiences that reflect that back to you. This is why it's so important to become aware of what you're thinking. Most people are completely unconscious of their thought patterns. They think the same thoughts day after day, year after year, and then wonder why their life never changes. They complain about the same problems, tell the same stories, replay the same grievances, and magnetize the same situations over and over again. If you want your life to change, you have to change your mind. You have to start thinking new thoughts. You have to let go of the old stories that keep you stuck. You have to stop defining yourself by your past. You have to stop predicting your future based on your history. You have to start seeing yourself as the infinite being that you truly are, capable of anything, worthy of everything, connected to all that is. And when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to take over, when your old patterns try to reassert themselves, you gently bring yourself back to the present moment. You remind yourself that you are safe right now. You reconnect with your breath. You feel your body. You look around and notice something beautiful. You choose a thought that feels better. You don't fight the negative thought or judge yourself for having it. You simply redirect your attention to something that lifts you up. This is the practice. This is how you train yourself to live in the flow. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about catching yourself when you're in resistance and choosing to soften. It's about noticing when you're forcing and deciding to ease up. It's about recognizing when you're in your head and dropping into your heart. Your heart knows the way. Your heart is always connected to Source. Your heart never lies to you. When something feels right in your heart, it is right for you. When something feels wrong in your heart, it's wrong for you. It's that simple. But you've been taught to ignore your heart, to override it with logic, to dismiss it as foolish or naive. You've been taught to do what makes sense, what's practical, what's safe, and in the process, you've cut yourself off from your most reliable guidance system. Start listening to your heart again. Start trusting those subtle nudges and whispers. Start following the path that lights you up, even if you can't see where it leads. Start saying yes to what excites you and no to what depletes you. Start choosing love over fear, expansion over contraction, possibility over limitation. Start living as if you are fully supported by the universe, because you are. The universe is not neutral. It is conspiring in your favor. It wants you to succeed. It wants you to be happy. It wants you to fulfill your potential, but it can only give you what you're willing to receive, and you can only receive when you're relaxed and open. When you're tense and closed, you block the flow. It's like trying to pour water into a bottle with the cap on. The water is there, the bottle is there, but nothing can get in until you remove the barrier. Your barriers are your beliefs about yourself, about life, about what's possible, about what you deserve. These beliefs create your reality. If you believe life is hard, you will experience hardship. If you believe people can't be trusted, you will attract untrustworthy people. If you believe money is scarce, you will struggle financially. If you believe love is painful, you will have painful relationships. Your beliefs are self-fulfilling prophecies. But here's the good news. Beliefs can be changed. You chose them consciously or unconsciously, and you can choose new ones. You can decide today that you're going to believe something different. You can decide that life is actually working for you, not against you. You can decide that you are worthy of love and success and happiness. You can decide that the universe is abundant and there's more than enough for everyone. You can decide that miracles are natural and magic is real. When you change your beliefs, you change your life. It's not an overnight transformation. You've been practicing your old beliefs for years, maybe decades. They're deeply grooved into your consciousness. But with consistent attention and intention, you can create new grooves. You can rewire your brain. You can shift your vibration. You can become a different person, living a different life. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to do it alone. When you align with the flow, when you surrender to the intelligence that creates worlds, you have access to infinite support. Help comes from everywhere. Teachers appear, books fall off shelves, conversations happen that shift your perspective. Opportunities arise that you never could have manufactured. You are guided step by step, breath by breath, into the fullness of who you came here to be. But you have to trust the process. You have to let go of your timetable. You have to release your attachment to how things should unfold. The universe has a plan that's far grander than anything your limited human mind could devise. What you think you want is often a pale shadow of what's actually available to you. What you're trying to force is often blocking something much better from arriving. This is why patience is so important. Not the patience of gritting your teeth and enduring, but the patience of knowing that everything is happening in divine timing. The patience of trusting that what's meant for you won't miss you. The patience of understanding that delays are not denials, they're redirections. The patience of believing that if something didn't work out, it's because something better is on the way. When you live with this kind of patience, with this kind of trust, with this kind of faith, life becomes so much sweeter. The struggle falls away, the anxiety diminishes. The constant striving stops exhausting you. You find yourself in a state of peace more often than not. You feel grateful for what is, even as you're excited about what's coming. You enjoy the present moment instead of constantly living in the future. And this is when the magic really starts to happen. When you're present, when you're grateful, when you're at peace, you're in your highest vibration. You're a match for miracles. You're aligned with Source. You're in the flow. And from this place, you don't have to chase anything. Everything you need comes to you. Not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. Not because you're special, but because this is how the universe works for everyone who learns to work with it instead of against it. You are not here to prove anything to anyone. You're not here to earn your worth or justify your existence. You're not here to please everyone or fix everything or save the world single-handedly. You're here to be yourself, your authentic, magnificent, perfectly imperfect self. You're here to express your unique gifts and share your special light. You're here to love and be loved. You're here to experience the fullness of life in all its beautiful, messy, glorious complexity. And you can't do any of that when you're tight and tense and trying to control everything. You can only do it when you're loose and open and willing to let life surprise you. You can only do it when you trade your agenda for trust, your plans for faith, your fear for love. You can only do it when you relax into the flow and let yourself be carried by the current of grace that's always been there, always been available, always been waiting for you to stop resisting and start allowing. So what does this look like practically? It looks like waking up in the morning and instead of immediately checking your phone or running through your to-do list, you take a few moments to breathe and set an intention. You say something like, today I'm open to miracles. Today I trust that I'm being guided. Today I choose ease over struggle. And then you go about your day with that awareness. It looks like noticing when you're in resistance and making a different choice. When you're stuck in traffic and feel yourself getting angry, you pause and think, what if this delay is protecting me from something? What if I'm exactly where I need to be right now? You choose peace instead of frustration. It looks like catching yourself when you're worrying and redirecting your thoughts. Instead of spinning out about all the things that could go wrong, you ask yourself, what if everything works out perfectly? What if this situation turns out even better than I hoped? You choose faith instead of fear. It looks like saying no to things that don't feel right, even if you can't explain why. It looks like saying yes to things that excite you, even if they seem illogical. It looks like following your intuition, trusting your gut, listening to that quiet voice inside that always knows the truth. It looks like being kind to yourself when you mess up. It looks like forgiving yourself quickly and moving on. It looks like treating yourself the way you would treat a beloved child or dear friend. It looks like giving yourself permission to rest, to play, to do nothing, to change your mind, to be human. It looks like appreciating what you have instead of constantly focusing on what's missing. It looks like finding reasons to feel grateful, even on the hard days. It looks like acknowledging the good that's already present in your life, even as you're calling in more. It looks like seeing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than evidence of failure. It looks like understanding that obstacles are often redirections, pointing you toward a better path. It looks like trusting that if a door closes, it's because you're meant to go through a different one. It looks like letting people be who they are without trying to change them. It looks like releasing your need to control how others think, feel, or behave. It looks like taking responsibility for your own happiness instead of making it dependent on anyone else's actions. It looks like being honest about your feelings without being a victim of them. It looks like acknowledging that, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is disappointing. Yes, this is scary, and also knowing that you're strong enough to handle it. It looks like feeling your feelings fully and then choosing thoughts that help you move through them. It looks like celebrating other people's success instead of feeling threatened by it. It looks like understanding that there's enough for everyone. It looks like knowing that someone else's win doesn't diminish you in any way. It looks like being genuinely happy when good things happen to others. It looks like taking inspired action when you feel pulled to do something, even if the timing seems off or the path seems unclear. It looks like trusting those mysterious urges to call someone, to go somewhere, to try something new. It looks like following the breadcrumbs of inspiration wherever they lead. It looks like relaxing your body throughout the day, dropping your shoulders, unclenching your jaw, softening your belly, breathing fully, releasing physical tension so energy can flow freely through you. It looks like spending time in nature, connecting with the earth, remembering that you're part of something vast and intelligent. It looks like feeling the sun on your face, the wind in your hair, the ground beneath your feet, and knowing that you're held by this planet, supported by this universe. It looks like surrounding yourself with beauty, music that moves you, art that inspires you, spaces that feel peaceful, people who uplift you, anything that raises your vibration and reminds you of the goodness of life. It looks like being present with the people you love, really listening when they talk, looking into their eyes, putting down your phone, being fully there, recognizing that these moments are what life is actually made of. It looks like laughing often, finding humor in everyday situations, not taking yourself so seriously, remembering that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and sometimes the human part is absurd and ridiculous, and that's okay. It looks like dreaming big without attachment, allowing yourself to want what you want, letting yourself feel excited about possibilities, and then releasing it all to the universe, trusting that what's meant for you will come, and what's not meant for you will make way for something better. This is the practice of living in the flow. It's simple, but not always easy, because you're going against years of conditioning. You're reprogramming patterns that have been running automatically for most of your life. You're choosing a different way of being in a world that constantly tells you to push harder, do more, be better. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more you choose ease, the easier life gets. The more you trust, the more trustworthy life reveals itself to be. The more you relax, the more everything you desire flows to you effortlessly. And one day you'll look back and realize that everything has changed. Not because you forced it to change, but because you allowed it to change. Not because you finally figured everything out, but because you stopped needing to have all the answers. Not because you became perfect, but because you became present. Not because you gained control, but because you surrendered control. You'll realize that the life you were chasing was actually chasing you, and it finally caught up when you stopped running. You'll realize that the love you were seeking was always within you, waiting to be acknowledged. You'll realize that the peace you were searching for was never lost, just covered over with layers of resistance. You'll realize that you are exactly who you needed to be all along, that you are enough, that you always have been enough, that you were born worthy, and nothing you've done or failed to do has changed that fundamental truth. You'll realize that life wasn't meant to be a battle. It was meant to be a dance. And you'll finally allow yourself to hear the music, to feel the rhythm, to move with grace and joy and abandon. You'll stop sitting on the sidelines, judging yourself, waiting to be ready. You'll get up and dance even if you don't know the steps, even if you feel foolish, even if you're dancing alone, because this is your life. This is your one precious, unrepeatable, miraculous life. And you get to choose how you live it. You can spend it in struggle and resistance, trying to force things to be different than they are. Or you can spend it in flow and allowance, trusting that you're always being guided toward your highest good. You can grip and grasp and control. Or you can open your hands and receive. You can fight the current, or you can relax and let it carry you. You can build walls, or you can build bridges. You can contract in fear, or you can expand in love. The choice is always yours. In every moment, with every breath, you choose. And whatever you've been choosing up until now, you can choose differently right now. You can decide that this is the moment everything changes. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you changed. Not because life finally bent to your will, but because you stopped bending life and started bending with it. Right now, you can take a breath and let go of something you've been holding on to. A grudge, a worry, a need for things to be different, a belief that's keeping you small. Just let it go. Feel how much lighter you are without it. Feel how much space that creates. Feel how much more is now able to flow into your life. Right now, you can make a decision to trust. Even if you've been disappointed before, even if you've been hurt, even if you've tried and failed, you can decide that this time is different because you're approaching it differently. You're not forcing, you're not controlling, you're simply showing up as your authentic self and allowing life to meet you there. Right now, you can remember who you really are, not the small, scared, limited version of yourself that you sometimes believe in, but the vast, powerful, infinite being that you truly are. The one who chose to be here in this body at this time for a reason. The one who has everything within them that they need. The one who is never alone because they're always connected to Source. You are that. You have always been that. You will always be that. Nothing you do or don't do can change the essential truth of your being. You are a divine creation, an expression of love, a channel for miracles. And when you remember this, when you align with this, when you live from this place, everything changes, not overnight, not without effort, not without challenges, but steadily, surely, beautifully, your life transforms into something that reflects your true nature. You become a living example of what's possible when you stop resisting life and start allowing it. You become a demonstration of grace in action. You become a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs more people who are willing to shine. This is what you're here for. Not to play small, not to stay safe, not to fit in, but to be fully, magnificently, unapologetically yourself. To let your light shine so brightly that it illuminates the path for others. To live in such a state of joy and peace and love that others are inspired to find their own way there. And you do that by relaxing, by letting go, by trusting, by flowing, by being who you already are instead of trying to become who you think you should be, by accepting what is instead of fighting for what isn't, by embracing this moment, this life, this beautiful, messy, perfect experience of being human. So relax. Right now, as you're hearing these words, just relax. Drop your shoulders, soften your face, breathe deeply, let go of whatever you're carrying that isn't yours to carry. Release whatever you're holding that's no longer serving you. Surrender whatever you're resisting that's blocking your good. And know that as you do this, as you make space, as you open up, as you allow, the universe rushes in to fill that space with everything you've been longing for. Not because you finally earned it or deserved it or figured out the secret, but because that's what the universe does. It fills empty spaces, it flows into openings, it responds to allowance. You are allowing right now, and in this allowing, you are attracting, you are magnetizing, you are calling forth everything that matches this new, higher vibration. You are creating space for miracles. You are opening doors to possibilities. You are saying yes to life, and life is saying yes back to you. This is the flow, this is the way. This is how you create a life that feels good, that works easily, that reflects your true nature. Not by forcing, but by allowing. Not by struggling, but by surrendering. Not by controlling, but by trusting. And every time you choose this, every time you remember this, every time you practice this, you strengthen this new way of being. It becomes more natural, more automatic, more who you are. Until one day you realize you're not even trying anymore. You're just being. You're just flowing. You're just living in alignment with the infinite intelligence that creates and sustains all life. And from that place, anything is possible. Everything is available. Nothing is out of reach. Because you're no longer standing in your own way. You're no longer blocking your good. You're no longer resisting your highest potential. You're simply allowing it all to unfold exactly as it's meant to, in perfect timing, with grace and ease and joy. This is your birthright. This is your natural state. This is who you've always been underneath all the conditioning and programming and fear. Welcome home. Welcome back to yourself. Welcome to the flow.